Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mai, a Colombo, Australia woman living in Melbourne. Today I'm going to share with you the top 10 books that I have read this year. Some of them are brand new or they haven't even been released, and some of them are from past years and a couple of classics. Actually, it's only one classic. Number 10 is something that I shared in my previous videos, and is the Trials of Morrigan Crow Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend. She is an Australian author. It's a middle grade book, but with Harry Potter vibes plus Hunger Games. The series is 3 books. The second one is already out, and the last one is coming at the end of this year. In position number 9 is a book called The Guests List by Lucy Foley. This book I got as an advance copy thanks to NetGalley, and it is a thriller, and it's my favorite thriller so far in terms of it has a lot of tropes that I love. So the premise is there is a wedding and it's in a remote island. At the get-go you know that someone is dead, but you don't know who is dead, and you start seeing the story from the bride's perspective, the husband to be perspective. There are like 5 different perspectives of what's happening, and yeah, so someone is dead and someone within the island killed that person. So you spend the entire book trying to figure out who is dead and who did it. It's really interesting because they are trapped in an island, and I think that's very like, and then there were none, like you know that someone from them is a murderer. 5 out of 5 star for me. In position number 8 is a similar book in terms of it's a thriller, and I also got this from NetGalley as an advance copy. It's the first time that I read from this author, Peter Swanson, and oh my god, I love the book. The name of the book is A Perfect Murders, and as I say, it's a thriller, and the premise is that there is this guy owns a bookshop, and back when he was working for the bookshop before owning it, he wrote a blog post of 8 perfect murders within books, and for forward, I don't know, 10 years, someone is trying to either implicate him, or maybe he is doing it, but someone is imitating and following his list and killing people around. I really liked it. It is a really interesting read because you don't know who is doing it and what's the motives behind implicating or trying to implicate this librarian. So yeah, 8 Perfect Murders, position number 8. Continue with position number 7, and as you can see in this channel, I love thrillers. And position number 7 goes to The Wife and the Widow by Christian White. This author is also an Australian author, and he also wrote The Nowhere Child. And this book, this is his new novel, is already out to on the stores, and it's such an interesting read. The twist at the end, I didn't see it coming, and it's about, of course, as the name says, the wife and the widow. So you know someone is dead, and you are looking into the events from 2 perspectives: the wife of the person who was murdered and the widow of the person who did it. Very entertaining. I read it like in 2 days because it is one of those that you cannot put down. I really enjoy it. Christian White has become one of my favorite authors of thrillers. And position number 6 is this book love mini book. I made an order for books about books because yeah, I like books. So I got a recommendation to read this book love, which is actually is a cartoonish type of book, and it is just beautiful. Coffee table book if you are into reading, and this is a book that I recommend you to have in your arsenal because I don't know, every time that I read it, open a page and read the cartoon for that page, just makes me laugh, makes me smile. It has so many things that I can relate completely. Like, for example, one of them is that I always have to go into a bookshop when I go to a shopping mall, and no matter how many books I have still to read at home, I actually have to always go in, and I normally get out with 1 or 2. Like, this is my to be read. All these books, I haven't read any of these books, so I feel identified with some of the things that she's sharing here. Book number 5 is a book that I actually did it on Audible, and it's Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This is such a powerful book, and it's a non-fiction book. It's written by the victim of Turner, that guy in the US from Stanford who raped a woman and got away with it, kind of thing, with only 1 year in jail. And so this story, so during the entire trial she was anonymous, no one knew her identity, but now she has take control and power and take control back of the story, and she published this book telling her side of the story and what happened during the trial process that lasted, I think, a few years. And it's so powerful. I bet like so many people, so many women can relate. It's not only about the act, it's about what she had to face in order to go against this rich kid that did that to her, like the justice system in America and the way women are perceived or were perceived before, because this is before the whole Me Too movement. So it is an impactful read. I think everyone out there should read it or listen to it. Actually, the audiobook is narrated by her, so you feel a little bit closer to her. Book number 4 is 100 Years of Solitude. I cannot believe it took me 32 years to read this novel. So Gabriel Garcia Marquez, he's Colombian, so he's from the same country as I am, and he won the Nobel Prize thanks to this book, 100 Years of Solitude. And I always kind of try to avoid reading from him. I don't know why. Like when I was a kid, I read a couple of them and they were not for me. But recently I was like, you know what? It's time. The time has come. I need to read it. I don't regret it. I really enjoyed it. It's a book that is not for everyone. I can see how so many people have DNF'd it, like didn't finish it. First, it's super confusing because all the characters in this book, in this family, are named the same kind of. So there are 3 names and they repeat and repeat. Jose Arcadio, Aurelio, and there is another one. This is set in Macondo, as a fictional town in Colombia. It follows the life of a family from Jose Arcadio, Buendia, and Ursula, and it follows that through many generations, 100 years of generations. It has elements of fantasy. So for example, one of the things that happened in this book is that it rained non-stop for 11 years. So that's kind of the fantasy that this book has. I admire Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This is a piece of art. Everyone should read it, just so you know, and you can talk to your friends about it. In position number 3 is a book called If I Never Met You by Marle McFarlane. I cannot pronounce her name. Again, this one was an advanced copy. It is out now, and I really enjoyed this book. It's a romance, so I do not read romance that much, but it's kind of like a contemporary romance, so it doesn't have many sex scenes or anything. It's more like it's about a relationship, a guy and a girl. They are engaged, they have been engaged for a while, and they have been together for many years, I think 11, and out of the sudden the guy decides that he needs some time, and that's it, he leaves, and she is left with the house, the cat, and that's it. So it goes into what happened when you have your life to put together and you think you have everything in your life and that's it. That's your partner for your whole life. This is your life. And all of a sudden you are alone, you are single again. You realize that you don't have friends outside that relationship. She met someone, but then the guy kind of like wants to get back. So it's all about, what do you do? Do you forgive that person that left you for a couple of months and then decided that you were the love of his life and he wanted you back? Or will you just close that door forever and start over again? I really enjoyed it. It's quite different from my thrillers and heavy non-fiction books that I was reading. Position number 2 is This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. I talked about it in my last video. Adam Kay used to be a doctor, a junior doctor in England, working for an NHS. He wrote this book and it's all about his diary and those first years as an intern, like as a junior doctor. Hospitals in different areas, how it works, and it's very related to what's happening right now with COVID-19. COVID-19, and I don't know, I found it really interesting to know from the perspective of doctors how they handle hospitals, and is it as hard as it seems? And the answer is yes, but you have to read it from him. Really recommend it. Couldn't put it down. It's very, very easy to read. Only 270 pages. And finally, number 1, the best book that I read in the first quarter of this year is Defending Jacob. Defending Jacob. So this book, we read it for the book club that we have at the office, and it is the story of, there is a family, a normal family that live in a normal city, and the dad works for the police and the mom, I don't know what she does, and they have a kid, Jacob. He is, I think, 12, I think he's 14, and it opens up with there's been a murder. One of the kids from Jacob's school is dead, was stabbed near the school, on her way to the school. They are looking for the murderer. Everything points that Jacob did it, but his family, of course, they believe that he didn't do it. The entire book, you read just from all sides, from all parties, who is Jacob and what is he like, and you are always constantly thinking and trying to figure it out. Did he do it? Is he a murderer? Is he an evil kid? It's very well done in terms of the whole trial process, because the author, he is a lawyer. And yeah, so that was the best book that I read. But also, I have a tie. So there is no 10 books, it's 11 books. Because I finished yesterday this book. I finished 1984 last night. And I cannot make this video without mentioning it. Sorry. So we have a tie in number 1. 1984 book is from George Orwell. It was written in the 1940s, dystopian world where people don't have freedom. They just follow what the big brother says, does, believes. Given that this was written in 1940s, some of the things that are happening in this dystopian world are things that very well are happening now in some of the societies. The dictatorships in 2020. So it's quite scary because it's not as far-fetched as you may think. It's similar to The Handmaid's Tale, kind of. The definition of reality in this book is mind-blowing. Okay, that's all for today. If you have any recommendations of books that I should read and I should get into, just leave it down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.